The greater the problem, the greater the recovery if you survive. Yes, you do have to survive. But you need to understand that if I can get through this, if I can make it through this, I will be stronger on the other side. When I was living in South Texas, there was a man that I was a friend with. He was a chemist, and he was a president of a small pesticide company. And down in South Texas, they do about three crops a year. I mean, they're pesticiding. And anyway, I was talking to him, and he said, they have to change the formula. About every year, they have to tweak it a little bit. Because the poison that you put on the insects one year, they can adapt to it. And he said, you always are having to change it just a little bit. And I sit there and I thought to myself, if God will do that for a mosquito, think what He will do for you. When I first started lifting weights, I was 12 years old. My dad lifted. He was way ahead of his time. Nobody used to lift weights back in that day and time. And he wouldn't let me start until I was about 12. And I started lifting. I just loved it from the first day I started lifting. But after about 2 weeks, I had some blisters on my hand. My hands hurt like rip. And I said, Dad, can I get some gloves or something to cover my hands? He said, yeah, you can do that. But he said, if you'll tough it out, pretty soon those blisters will turn to calluses. And once they do, they'll never bother you again. And that's exactly true. Those blisters have turned to calluses. And they never bother me again. So people, you need to understand, if you can get through the tough times, if you can get through the blisters. Also, there was something going on even as I spoke to my dad, and that's the fact that healing starts from the inside. And even as my blisters were hurting, even as my hands were hurting, the healing had already begun. And so you have to stay with it. Have to give God time to work in your life. And before you know it, your blisters will turn to calluses, and you will be able to deal with things that a year ago or a decade ago or whenever would have taken you down. That's how you get stronger.